Vanessa Nakate from Uganda.
We're going to see this works. We are here in Glasgow. About to listen to Vanessa.
Thank you for coming out here. Once again, we are faced with another COP event. How many more of these should they hold until they realize that their inactions are destroying the planet? We are seeing the impacts of the climate crisis.
Oh, sorry, mate.
I come from Kampala, Uganda, a country that has one of the fastest changing climates in the world. And allow me explain it this way. Abantu bafa, ennimiro z'abantu ziggwawo, abaana tebakyagenda ku masomero. When I say this, I mean people are dying, children are dropping out of school, people's farms are being destroyed.
Hiya. Can you give me a hand?
Tetumanyi the kind of future we are going into. We are in a crisis. We are in a disaster that is happening every day. Ebyamaguzi by'abantu bigwawo, Amataba, Kampala, and different parts of the country. When I say that, I mean floods are ravaging different parts of Kampala, different parts of Uganda, and across the African continent. Historically, Africa is responsible for only 3% of global emissions, and yet Africans are suffering some of the most brutal impacts fueled by the climate crisis. While the African continent, while the global south is on the front lines of the climate crisis, they are not on the front pages of the world's newspapers. We've seen activists from the most affected areas being erased from pictures, from conversations, and removed from rooms. But how will we have climate justice if people from the most affected areas are not being listened to? The climate crisis is here now, but the dry land can be glad again. The farms can blossom again. The animals can rejoice because there is water to drink. There is a loud singing in once parched lands. The pain and suffering is gone. There is a celebration of the people because the disasters are gone. Our history is visible. There is no fear of losing it. We won't have to just tell our children about our cultures because they will see and experience them themselves. We won't have to fight for limited resources because there will be enough for everyone. There is food to drink, there is food to eat and water to drink. Children can go to school with no fear of dropping out. There is joy and singing because finally no child can be forced into marriage. Once flooded places will dry and bloom again. There is triumph in the city because the power of the people finally won. The world is green again. Nature has been restored. The planet and creation is respected. Another world is necessary, another world is possible, and this is just a glimpse of it. And today, we shall continue to fight on in every way we can. We cannot give up now. We need to continue holding leaders accountable for their actions. We cannot keep quiet about climate injustice. Your actions matter. No action is too small to make a difference, and no voice is too small to make a difference. Let us keep the faith for the future. Which faith will give us the hope for the world not yet seen? but the world that we can imagine, the world that I just told you about. And above all, the love for the people and for the planet. 3 things should stay with us as we continue to organize and mobilize and strike and speak up and demand for climate justice. That is faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these things is love, because when we continue to love the people, when we continue to love the planet, that will be the strength we need to fight for a future that is sustainable, that is healthy, that is clean and equitable for all of us. Thank you.
Okay, we're here in Glasgow. We're gonna hopefully our computer is working all right. Let's see if I can get over here. Kind of like right by the stage. There's a lot of people around, a lot of interference. Yeah, I'm a little bit so sad now. We're gonna.
Hello Glasgow! Oh my goodness, so many people! How are we doing? Yo! Before I start, I would like to honor all of the defenders, our indigenous people that came all the way here to deliver their messages. Honor the sacred, honor the indigenous people that are all here today. My name is Ina Maria Shikongo. I come from Namibia, a desert, a beautiful country, surrounded by 2 deserts. And today we have a company all the way from Canada, wanting to frag up the Kavango, putting my people at risk. And I am asking COP26 today, why do you keep on whitewashing everything? Stop talking about the Nazi genocide only. Let's talk about the genocide that you have imposed on our people. Globally. You colonialists, you came to our continent, you took our ancestors, you enslaved them. That was the genocide. You went to the Americas, you caused genocide there, and you never talk about them. You went to Africa, and you are still continuing with your genocides. Boris Johnson, the genocide that you people are endorsing is happening right now. Let's talk about Cambo. Let's talk about Recon Africa. Let's talk about ECOP. What's up with all of these new oil projects? What is happening in Mendoza? Yo, people, we are tired of your neo-colonial trends. The generation that will hold you accountable is this generation. It has been born. We are here today because we know that COP26 won't do anything. They want to continue the massacre that they have been responsible for hundreds of years already. Your world is built on the blood of our people. And we want change. We will not give up. We want justice for Ken Saro-Wiwa. You people have to be held accountable for the genocide and ecocide that you have been causing. We want justice for the people in Ecuador. Chevron, stop your lies. Free Don Donziger, Stephen Donziger, free him. You cannot keep on oppressing our people. You cannot keep on coming to our countries claiming that you are bringing development when all that you are bringing is devastation. You are poisoning our waters. I am here to defend my homeland today. The Kavango, the birthplace of modern humanity, the oldest DNA is in the Kavango. And yet COP26 is there whitewashing, cropping activists out of pictures. What's up with that? We can defend ourselves, and you will defend ourselves. And now I am going to teach you a chant from my homeland. Please repeat after me. Ihatu Sholola. I will just add, it means you will never give up. Ihatu Sholola. Ihatu Sholola. Ihatu Sholola. Then again, COP26, please stop your bullshit once again. Thank you very much.
Definitely reiterating that message, stop the bullshit. Next up, we have our final speaker of the night. I am very, very excited to welcome Greta Thunberg.
Thank you everyone for coming. What a great day. It is not a secret that COP26 is a failure. It should be obvious that we cannot solve a crisis with the same methods that got into it in the first place. And more people are starting to realize this. Many are starting to ask themselves, what will it take for the people in power to wake up? But let's be clear, they are already awake. They know exactly what they are doing. They know exactly what priceless values they are sacrificing to maintain business as usual. The leaders are not doing nothing. They are actively creating loopholes and shaping frameworks to benefit themselves and to continue profiting from this destructive system. This is an active choice by the leaders to continue to let the exploitation of people and nature and the destruction of present and future living conditions to take place. The COP has turned into a PR event where leaders are giving beautiful speeches and announcing fancy commitments and targets, while behind the curtains, the governments of the global north countries are still refusing to take any drastic climate action. It seems like their main goal is to continue to fight for the status quo. And COP26 has been named the most exclusionary COP ever. This is no longer a climate conference. This is now a global North greenwash festival. A 2-week-long celebration of business as usual and blah, blah, blah. The most affected people in the most affected areas still remain unheard. Yes. And the voices of future generations are drowning in their greenwash and empty words and promises. But the facts do not lie, and we know that our emperors are naked. To stay below the targets set in the Paris Agreements, and thereby minimizing the risk of setting off irreversible chain reactions beyond human control, we need immediate, drastic, annual emission cuts, unlike anything the world has ever seen. And as we don't have the technological solutions that alone will do anything even close to that, that means we will have to fundamentally change our society. And this is the uncomfortable result of our leaders' repeated failure to address this crisis. At the current emissions rates, our remaining CO2 budgets to give us the best chances of staying below 1.5 degrees Celsius will be gone within the end of this decade. And the climate and ecological crisis, of course, doesn't exist in a vacuum. It is directly tied to other crises and injustices that date back to colonialism and beyond. Crises based on the idea that some people are worth more than others and therefore have the right to steal others, to exploit others, and to steal their land and resources. And it is very naive of us to think that we can solve this crisis without addressing the root cause of it. But this is not going to be spoken about inside the COP. It's just too uncomfortable. It's much easier for them to simply ignore the historical debt that the countries of the global north have towards the most affected people in areas. And the question we must now ask ourselves is, what is it that we are fighting for? Are we fighting to save ourselves and the living planet? Or are we fighting to maintain business as usual? Our leaders say that we can have both. But the harsh truth is that that is not possible in practice. The people in power can continue to live in their bubble filled with their fantasies, like eternal growth on a finite planet and technological solutions that will suddenly appear seemingly out of nowhere and will erase all of these crises just like that. All this while the world is literally burning on fire, and while the people living on the front lines are still bearing the brunt of the climate crisis. They can continue to ignore the consequences of their inaction, but history will judge them poorly, and we will not accept it. We don't need any more distant, non-binding pledges. We don't need any more empty promises. We don't need any more commitments that are full of loopholes and incomplete statistics and that ignore the historical emissions in climate justice. Yet, that is all that we are getting. And no, that is not radical to say. Just look at their track record. They have had 26 COPs. They have had decades of blah blah blah, and where has that led us? Over 50% of all our CO2 emissions have occurred since 1990, and about a third since 2005. All this while the media is reporting on what people in power say that they are going to do, rather than what they actually do. Time and time again, the media fails to hold the people in power responsible for their action and inaction. As they continue to expand fossil fuel infrastructure, opening up new coal mines, coal power plants, granting new oil licenses, and still refusing to do even the bare minimum, like delivering on the long-promised climate finance for loss and damage to the most vulnerable and least responsible countries. This is shameful. Some people say that we are being too radical, but the truth is that they are the ones who are radical. Fighting to save our life-supporting systems isn't radical at all. Believing that our civilization, as we know it, can survive a 2.7 degree or a 3 degree hotter world, on the other hand, is not only extremely radical, it's pure madness. Out here, we speak the truth. The people in power are obviously scared of the truth. Yet, no matter how hard they try, they cannot escape from it. They cannot ignore the scientific consensus, and above all, they cannot ignore us, the people, including their own children. They cannot ignore our screams as we reclaim our power. We are tired of their blah blah blah. Our leaders are not leading. This is what leadership looks like. Thank you for showing up, and see you tomorrow again at the march.
Thank you all so much for coming. That was incredible to hear. I'd like to invite the group from Fridays for Future Glasgow, who are responsible for organising this incredible day. What do we want? What do we want it?
No!
What do we want?
Climate justice!
What do we want it?
No!
What do we want?
Climate justice!
What do we want When do we want it? Now! Thank you so much for coming.
¿Que te quieres hacer una entrevista? ¿Te quiere hacer una entrevista?
There's some music now.
I just wondered what land back meant to you.
Land back?
Yeah, I saw some people wearing land back. I mean,
Just give me 1 second.
all right, so let's try to get some interviews really quick. Again, we're in Glasgow, COP26. We're being... do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure.
Ahí está la mamá, detrás de él está la mamá por si acaso.
Ya, yo lo voy a saludar. Ya. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, just introduce yourself and let us know what land back means to you.
Yeah. My name is Elena Walinga. I'm 19. I come from the community of Sarayaco in the Ecuadorian Amazon. Land back means we need to respect indigenous people's lands that are in our custody right now, but also the ones that we have lost. We need our lands. We need to make sure that it's under indigenous protection.
And how do you feel this COP is going? Like, how is that?
People that do not represent us are speaking on behalf of us inside of COP. They're negotiating our territories and our lands. And we need to make sure that indigenous people have the platform and the voice to be in those spaces, and we need to make sure that our struggles are heard over here.
And what do those people in those halls, what do they need to hear from us?
We need to phase out from fossil fuel. That is what is causing climate change, and those industries are also the ones that are harming our lands.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to try to see if I can get more interviews. I'm being kicked out of this space. Again, that was just really impromptu. I'm just seeing what I can do. Again, we're live here in Glasgow. Not sure how the year is going. I'm being pointed out. Yeah, no problem, no problem. Not really sure how anything's holding up, or is it keeping going for a second round? Maybe that was it. That was a good test. We're going to be live tomorrow. If you have been following our Instagram, our Twitter, you'll see that our crew on the inside, I got so much things. Salsa, yes, love. I'm just being handed stuff. You can see there's a lot of people here. So, some Palestinian flags. This is the end of the rally. So there was a march and rally, Fridays for the Future. We got here at the rally and I wasn't sure if our gear was going to work. I'm trying to see if it works now. So if it's dropping, just know we are in Glasgow, Scotland for the COP26. You got to hear Greta Thunberg talk a little bit. It looks like we have a little bit of musician up right now. And I'm just going to walk around the outside really quick and see if I can get one more interview. Please make a call. Don't stand in the doorway, don't front the door. For the who gets hurt, one day you must stay. There's a battle outside and it's raging. It'll soon shake your windows and rend your walls. For the times they are a-changing. Again, really wild. Let's see if I can do one more interview and I'm going to take this down again. I do suspect it's probably dropping a lot. I'm not really sure. Again, we just got this gear. We want to see if we can work it while we're here. Mostly for tomorrow. There's going to be a big march. We plan to be live for a long time. tell us about Black Indigenous Solidarity?
Yes. So one of the biggest things...
Yeah, the sound is kind of... Okay. Thank you so much.
Hi. One of the biggest things that we're doing here today is making sure the minority voices are being heard. Those who have definitely had their voices silenced. We are there. We are having this conversation. We need to make sure that we stand in solidarity with the Black Indigenous people all over. We don't get to choose what Black Lives Matter. All Black Lives Matter. And I mean those in Brazil, those in Australia, those in India, those in Africa. We need to be able to decolonize the system to have this conversation. And it takes all of us working as allies. To be an ally, you need to act on the inequality, use your voice and influence, listen to the voices of those oppressed, and ensure that you learn and unlearn your unconscious bias. The last bit is for you to yield. Yield your power and privilege and try and create change. Would you want to be an ally and stand in solidarity with Black lives in everything you do around climate justice? Marvina Newton, Black Lives Matter leads, and United for Black Lives. Okay.
What would you tell people? Is a lot of times the climate movement feels really hopeless. You know, as climate change continues, our struggle continues. Like, what would your message be to people about hope?
One of the biggest things I need to give you about hope is that we don't operate from a place of fear. Fear is false evidence appearing real. We know the truth. And as much as it feels like we're speaking and people are not listening, remember, everything that we see in society, we had to fight to have a voice of influence. So I'm saying, what part of history do you want to be part of? The part of history that rewrites history, the part of history that puts marginalized voices at the heart of climate justice. It's not, if it was easy, everybody would do it. But I know you, listening to this, you are here to create a legacy of change. But it starts by you using your voice, because your silence becomes consent, and consent is violence. So let's make sure we all use our voice, amplify it up, and look at who's missing from the conversation and give them a platform to create that change.
Do you want to talk? Who are you with one more time?
Yes. So I'm Marvina Newton from Black Lives Matter, leads Black Lives Matter UK, United for Black Lives, Kill the Bill official, and we're standing here in solidarity, making sure we're fighting for our rights to protest. In the UK, our rights are being taken away from us, telling us that it's illegal for us to cause any nuisance with prison sentences of 10 years for us to be here doing this. So this is something that is going down in history while we fight, to make sure we work in a united way to create change.
Thank you. Alright everybody, I'm just going to keep wandering around. We're just wandering around. Again, we're in Glasgow, Scotland. This is COP26, Fridays for the Future March. You just saw Greta Thunberg, and I think Vanessa speak. I can really get back there. Anyways, we're going to walk around the perimeter, and then we'll probably take the feed down. Again, I just wanted to see how our gear was doing and give you a view of the streets here in Glasgow, Scotland for the COP26. And we're walking, you can see everyone's kind of milling about. The music's maybe a problem for the feed, but we'll find out. Again, thanks for being here. Again, I'm Lorenzo Serna, Director of Textile Media for the Indian Collective. My pronouns are they, them, I'm Chicanx. Glad to be here. Really honored to be here. It's like unprecedented. I think about it every moment I'm in the streets somehow. I just can't believe it. But we are here. I always wanted to go to a COP to be part of the outside protest. So I'm glad to be able to cover a little bit. Hold on one second. Yeah, we're just gonna walk out, I think. We'll take the feed down. Bear with us. Go check out our Instagram. There's a lot of information there of what we're learning. We have a team on the inside of COP. We have teams on the outside of COP. We have people who are just being here, being present, working with different indigenous crews who have come to this place to make sure that our voices, their voices, all our voices are being heard. Again, if you look at our Instagram, you can see the reports that we're giving from inside. I would definitely check that out. Along with our Twitter, we have some wonderful panelists for the past couple of days, wonderful panels. You can see them there. And there is I think they brought in 10,000 police officers for this event. So there's a lot of police milling around, kind of what they do. Yeah, I'm gonna walk out here and we're gonna take this down. I just wanted to see how everything would work. Again, my name, Lorenzo Serna. I also have no idea where I'm at. I kind of ran here and I'll figure it out. You can see here's a little cadre of police. Oh, pardon. Stuck in the middle of it. A lot of people have left. This place was packed earlier. I was really trying to figure out how to like go live, how to walk around, and then there's just so many people. But now it's definitely thinning out.
Scorched earth and 1,000 flavors. See, they got a pawn shop for your land. It's nothing personal, understand. We gotta keep the money and the gold all black. Or we'll take the shirt off your back. We're always gonna manufacture pretenses. No facts here, no come to your senses. No offense, don't come here, but we're gonna manufacture fences. Bring down these walls and the silence. I won't submit to social violence. No nation state, no corporation can validate our liberation.
I love this Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Elsewhere it's troubling times. Others to be but can't get a visa. You can be a refugee this Easter. A lapse in concentration. Camps are the new sensation. Our lives are birth cathedral. Never shed a tear for the world.
You're letting the kids with the dinosaur. I don't know if I would do that, but they're doing it. Alright, let respect. The kids hanging out with a T-Rex. I don't know.
Of course, we're the ones importing crime. Whatever the weather, we're prepping to bear terror to rain from on high.
I feel good about this. Alright, so again, I just wanted to bring you live really quick. Make sure our gear maybe was working. I don't actually know if it is, so I might just be talking to myself. That's great. Yeah.
Time to go.
One second. How are you doing?
Good, thanks, you.
I'm okay. I'm with the Indian Collective. I was just wondering if you want to talk about what it's like to be here. Yeah, go for it. Just tell us who you are, why you're here.
Yeah, hi, I'm Vivini. I'm here because my Global South brothers and sisters have arrived and I wouldn't miss the opportunity to meet them, to greet them and to host them. It's important that we make spaces for those that are on the front line of the climate collapse, and this isn't something in the future. It's been happening for many years, 30 plus years, and the Global North is only just waking up. The Global North is talking about 1.5 degrees and keeping it below there. For me, and I know for my brothers and sisters of the Global South, we're at 1.1 and there's collapse already happening. We don't want any more degrees increase. We need action now. This whole idea of containing into 1.5, Global North will be Global South will be destroyed at 1.5. This is colonialism talk because it's about protecting the North, Global North and the white spaces, and not considering what is required for the Global South and my people and my ancestors' people in the Global South who are alive and kicking, and their existence is resistance, and yet here they are still having to play the game of the Global North in dialogue about a 1.5 degrees when it's action now, stop now, because floodings in Bangladesh, floodings, indigenous islands are all going already. They're having to work out places and to move to, and yet here we are in a Global North space talking about 1.5. Where is the justice? They need action now. They need the money. Release the money. Release the debt. Remove the interest and cancel the debt so that communities in the Global South with money, give them money so that they can actually address the climate collapse crisis now. It's not in a future time, it's happening already, and it's an emergency in the Global South, and we need their money, we need their privilege, and we need their power now.
Well, what does solidarity look like then with the Global South and people who are in the North and maybe feel disconnected?
Well, solidarity means releasing, understanding what privilege means. And privilege means that you have power, that you have resources, that you have money, and you have skills, right? So when we ask for releasing privilege, we're asking the Global North to release all of these things now. That's what justice looks like. That's what solidarity looks like. Nobody's asking for a begging bowl. We're asking for reparations, right? This isn't a begging bowl situation. This is understanding the impact that the Global North has had on our communities in the Global South. The extractivism of what has been going on for centuries. This is their time to understand that they have a debt to the Global South, not the other way around, which is what currently is happening. And in order to understand that, you have to understand colonialism and you have to understand capitalism. And these two structures are the structures that have oppressed the Global North and the Global South for many, many years, hundreds of years. And until the Global North really, in the climate movement, demand decolonization and demand the dismantling of capitalism, we are just going to get greenwashing.
And then a lot of indigenous people, we're an indigenous organization, so I guess, what would you say to indigenous people in North America, Turtle Island, as a message from here?
So, as a message from here, if there is indigenous people sitting in the Global North, right, and that have any power and have any privilege, I need you to stand up for your brothers and sisters, just as I am standing here. It takes courage, and it's exhausting because we're constantly triggered as a brown woman in the Global North. I'm constantly triggered. I'm constantly wanting to disappear and not be in white spaces. But I know my brothers and sisters in the white spaces, without me, we can't unite and transform as humanity, because this isn't about them and us, it's about us all. But my white brothers and sisters have got to understand the impact that they have on us, and when they truly come to the truth of that, then we can find the solutions, and then we can actually address this climate collapse.
Thank you so much. Did you introduce yourself? Did you want to introduce yourself? Yeah, I said we're meeting. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm Lorenzo Serna. Yeah, thank you for talking. Oh, okay, you take care. Thank you. All right, everybody. On that note, I am going to take it down. I just wanted to do that last thing. As you heard, we do have our family, our relatives inside right now in these white spaces, in the COP26, in these meeting rooms, trying to make sure they keep them accountable to our voices. Your prayers, your thoughts really needed, as you heard, that those spaces can be really hard on us. But we're going in there, and it's necessary. If you have time, look at the panel we were tweeting about last night to hear a little bit more about the history of COP26. And yeah, thank you for being here with me. I'm going to take the feed down. Again, my name is Lorenzo Serna, Director of Tactical Media here at the NDN Collective. We'll be live on the streets tomorrow. My pronouns are they, them. I'm Chicanx. Thank you, Rasa. We'll talk soon. I also wanted to mention I'm just talking to people I'm talking to on the street. Like, I don't know who the folks are. They're going to say what they say. It's live, so we have no real control of what's happening. People are just really milling around, and we're going to get their opinion. We're going to hear their voices. And sometimes we'll probably hear some things that we might not agree with or disagree with. Just know that we will be talking also to my colleagues here from the NDN Collective who are on the ground tomorrow. We'll hopefully be interviewing a lot of indigenous just Jesus, all these indigenous crews that are here together to hold this space. And like I said, we have people on the inside who are in these meetings trying to make sure that our thoughts are being heard, our words are being addressed, and making sure they're not going to be able to pull off another greenwashing no to net zero. And here we go. I'll take it down for real.